Water the garden. Your fantasy team is a garden. Water it, okay? And again, Dr. Dick, you know, just, hey, let me throw up 150 on you, and can you do it?
Yeah, just rolling along.
All right, huge matchup. Redonkulous beats Mason Keat Colby 123-115, and Redonkulous saves their season.
I mean, didn't they get blown out the week before and we said, okay, finally we can say Redonkulous is dead.
We don't have to worry about it.
But apparently the rest of the lower half of the league said, no, you're not dead. Because you're still involved.
Yeah.
So you win against Mason Keat Colby, you have a shot to get into that 5-8 crowd and make the playoffs.
It's unbelievable. Mason Keat has not put up any points for a couple weeks now. I mean, if you look past the last 5 or 6 games, right, he's really dropped off. And maybe that Tom Brady, Wes Walker tandem isn't as powerful, and it's not going to take you to the fantasy gold. But we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
All right, the Fire Spitting Jimmy's 149 over the Goods 80. I take issue with this game. The Goods didn't fill out their lineup. Tell me what's going on there.
Well, I think the general manager of the Goods made a decision to sit 2 roster spots.
What is that?
He felt he couldn't drop anything. He had the depth he needed. He feels he's in the playoffs now at 6-5.
Yeah, that's pretty...
And I agree with him. I think 6 wins gets you in the playoffs. But, you know, when you're holding Joe Flacco on your bench, you're not filling in a roster slot.
Joe Flacco
obviously wouldn't have made a difference here. The Fire Spitting Jimmies finally get off the schneid a little bit there with 149. They get the Toyota Tundra blowout of the week. Fire Spitting Jimmy's still alive in this one with horses. They project well every week. We'll see.
Toyota Tundra. Drive it. Live it. Be it. Up next, the Mofos defeat the Rollers 131-27. OMG, the Mofos scraped by again by the hair of their chinny chin chin. The Mofos are quite possibly the worst 6-5 team in Fantasy League Fantastico history, maybe fantasy leagues everywhere.
They have a very long chinny chin chin. This Mofo team, if you look at all the wins they have, they're probably within 5 to 10 points. They've been outscored by their opponents by, I think, well over 200.
It's amazing.
They're one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, but they're 6-5. They can win this week. They're 7-5. That's how that works. This Mofo team is a team that wins, and until they do otherwise, we can't count them out. They're in the playoffs as it stands now. But, as we'll show you later,
the Mofos is quite possibly, this team may not win again. In fact, I don't think it will. They are sliding. They are now, I believe, in the 6th or 5th spot. This team could easily find itself out of the playoffs. Playoffs? For the Mofos?
It's an interesting scenario that we will break down in a segment later in the show. But this Mofo team can be a team that's up or down come playoff time.
Dreadful.
We will see.
Let's just take a quick look at, again, the trends. And that would be Mason Keat and the Rollers losing twice. The bottom teams coming up, the King and the Boone Humper, both on little win streaks. Boone Humper's won 5 of 6, and the Kings won 3 in a row. Here's another thing when we look at it. Mofos at 1295 points, overall points. The Boone Humper and the Fire Spitting Jimmies, 1337 to 1338. You know, 1 point separates them. These are the trends.
1 point separates them overall. 1 game separates them. And guess who plays who this week? The Boone Humper and the Fire Spitting Jimmies.
Oh!
And if you haven't been keeping up in your historical Fantasy League Fantastico, let me just give you a quick reference here.
There's no need for that.
The Boone Humper, formerly known as the Playful Pickle, was an undefeated team till the Fire Spitting Jimmies came late in the season to take that away from them, meet them in the playoffs, take that away from them, and then go ahead and win the crown.
I don't know if we really need to get into that. Why don't we just jump right into power rankings?
Let's do it.
Power ranking time, people. And I know people out there are probably thinking, well, okay, we're ready to see all the same old teams. But maybe not this time, you know, because a lot has happened that has made me, as an analyst, an objective analyst, say, there's a major shift going on in this league.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some early ripe, early rotten happen here. We've also seen teams that were scoring early that didn't work the waiver wire properly and have built no depth being affected by that. I mean, the injury bug's going to get us all. These power rankings have taken a major shift.
Yes, no doubt. And well, we'll just dive right in. Start it off, would you?
Bottom 5, my 5th worst team in the FLF is the Mofos. They're 6-5. They look like they're heading into the playoffs without a freak scenario. But I still, like we've said all year long, they don't score a lot of points. They're frankly an average team that has some pretty good mojo at times. They're my 5th worst team in the FLF. What do you have there?
I have the Fire Spinning Jimmies. You know, Fire Spinning Jimmies are, as we saw last week, this team puts up 150 on you. Yeah. Next week puts up, 95 points. This team is bipolar. This team needs to start taking some antipsychotic drugs and just give me some stability. Give me some points every week, week in, week out.
Well, when your team continues to lose, yet you think you have the horses to win, sometimes you have to make some moves to replace these horses.
Yeah.
Some sort of backup plan. This Fire Spinning Jimmy's team is holding on to players like
Javon
Ringer, and they've been rolling with that Denver running game.
Lance Ball.
Picking it. Lance Ball, Moreno. He's had them all on that team.
If you look at the bench of this team, there's no one there who really says, oh, wow, this guy can plug this guy in, and then this horse is going to go off. It's Fire Spinning Jimmy. He does a lot of smack talk, but really, hey, take a look in the mirror, bud.
I think one of the problems is when you carry 2 quarterbacks all year long, you're wasting that roster spot where you can take chances on flyers, see what happens, manipulate the system a little, get some players in there, and find a gem or two, and not wait till that late season magic, which has served the Jimmies well in the past, but that's not going to happen every year.
I don't think it's going to happen this year.
I've got them at number 4. You got 5. I've got them at the fourth worst team in the FLF for the same reasons we just talked about.
Yeah,
no
doubt.
Just is in and out, a different team every week.
All right, I got Redonkulous as my number 4. Redonk won last week, and let me say, it's the best 3-loss team probably in Fantasy League Fantastico, or a 3-win team at this stage in the season in Fantasy League Fantastico history. Snakebit, I said that in the past. He's done everything but win. Redonk is number 4 on my part.
Well, Snakebit, we've been taking that to a bit of an extreme. When you've only won 3 games, maybe your team isn't as great as you think. Cam Newton has been falling off a little bit.
Yeah, he really has been kind of...
He does have the best 1-2 punch in the league with Darren Sproles and Arian Foster. I'll give him that. His receiver core is unproven. Victor Cruz, nice player, not in every
Larry
league
Fitzgerald hampered by a bad quarterback.
Fitzgerald, bad quarterback. It's Cedric Benson in his flex. That's just something I don't really trust week to week. It's a good team, solid talent, one of the better talented teams. He can put up many points, but it's not a powerhouse when I really look at that team.
No, it's not.
It shouldn't be 3-8, but it is, and it probably will be on the outside looking in. I have him at number 3.
Good.
My bottom 5.
My number 3 is the Mofos. Hey, the Mofos, what do you say? This team sucks, all right? It is the most luckiest 6-5 team I've ever seen. I have full expectations that the Mofos will drop their last 2 games and slink away from the big dance called the playoffs.
Wow.
Goodbye, Mofos. You're number 3.
Wow, that is a bold prediction. Again, I had the Mofos as my 5th worst. My 2nd worst team in the league is the Morning Wood.
As is mine.
We agree on this. I think the Morning Wood has...
Oh, bud. We never agree.
It is a moment, indeed. Morning Wood, again, they haven't done anything really to improve their team, and now they've been defended.
I'm almost getting tired talking about the Morning Wood and how they haven't, goodbye, we'll take your,
the injury turd has landed, and your team is done. No playoffs for the Wood. And we agree on the worst team in the FLF.
Lunches for Wimps. You had a chance starting off. You could have tended your gardening a little bit better.